I've had this chat before with the head of the Monarchist League and said, you know, isn't it a matter of time before we just become a monarchy? Sorry, a republic rather. Isn't it the time is coming when the monarchy is going to end essentially, and we're just going to have to become a republic?
We don't have to. Surely we aspire
Yeah,
that. Surely we believe that all men are born free and equal.
yeah,
Well, you can't believe that all men are free and equal when you got your coin.
yeah,
A foreign monarch, And I'm anything but anti my English heritage,
mm,
I wave that flag at all available opportunities.
yeah,
And and that branch of my family, yeah, we lost a son in the First World War, we lost a
yeah,
Second World War.
yeah.
But I'm proud of all my other forebears too. And even forget about that.
But yeah,
But could I, we're getting to conclusion now. Could I
sure.
conclude that, say that I love Australians and I don't want us to be a dying race. And I want us to have big families and have all the joy. We've got quarter of a football oval at the back of our house, and
Mm,
our cousins, and we had 5 kids, and they're all their friends, and there'd be 20 kids there screaming and yelling and
yeah,
football around,
yeah,
cheating and lying.
yeah.
And it, it's just so much fun to have a big family.
Absolutely.
There's always some excitement going on,
Yes.
and then they have big families,
Yeah.
and they're fun places to be. Um, and I'm not saying that we deny power either. They're very powerful families as well. And I won't be apologising for anyone by saying that. And I would hope that Christian Porter, my second cousin, would say the same thing
Mm,
on that side. And on other sides of my family, well, you know, great grandfather Howard had died the richest man in Queensland. Well, I won't be apologising for that.
yeah.
We worked hard and we took great risks to get there. And we set the way for a lot of people. Um, so, I want to conclude on this note, if I could, please, Joel.
Sure.
I was the unit historian. People of my age were at war in Indonesia. Met that dreadful fellow called Sukarno, and they've been wonderful neighbours to us. I can't speak more highly of Indonesians, but this is going back 60 years. And we're at war there, then straight out of that, it was only very brief. We're at war in Vietnam, and people my age, probably 1 in 2, 1 in 5, most certainly wore uniform. But I was I was platoon commander, which was sergeant. Sometimes it was lieutenants, but I became a lieutenant later on. But I was the unit historian. So I went and saw a colonel and I said, hey, listen, we covered ourselves up. Glory in the First World War. Battle honours everywhere. But in the Second World War, it's all negative, it fell back, failed the whole ground, wilted on fire. He said, well, what do you want to do, Captain? I want to go down to the RSL. It's only 18 years after we finished it. Go down to the RSL and, well, maybe we were a fallback battalion, but a lot of the stuff is doctored up. So maybe we weren't. Yeah, right, we'll go down and do that. So you don't need permission, do you, Captain? I hope you go AWOL every night. Smoke. Anyone here know anything about the 49th in the war? Only about 100, 150 people there at the RSL. Bloke yelled out, yeah, mate, come down here. He said the 49th, yeah, the 49th, on unit historian. And he said they were the worst hit of all. When they were relieved at Santander, there were only 28 of them able to walk out unassisted from the trenches. He said, you know how many men left Port Moresby? 783 men left Port Moresby. That was all that was left. It was 28. He said 28. I said 783. He said 28. Then he said 783, and I said 28. And I walked away because Cloncurry boys don't cry.
That's it. And you don't want to see that happen to the nation.
I'm the 49th Battalion. We stopped our country from being invaded. most of us gave our lives or our future, crippled after the war. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there is that sentiment in the country, isn't there, that we're losing the thread, and the adults have left the room.
See, it's always a small group of people that really do the fighting and that lead. And yeah. I mean, there was a bloke 2,000 years ago, and, she sort of really had no, I think there were 12 people when they tortured him to death, nailed him on a piece of wood. I think there were 12, 15 people. That was all he had. But that 12 or 15 people, that's grown into almost a third of the planet. All right, well, we have to grow Christianity in Australia out as well. And if we're small in number, then I enjoy the fight. I never liked playing. We never played much when we were playing against lousy teams. When we were playing against the big boys, I loved it.
Yeah.
So if there's a challenge out there and there's a fight and we are the big underdogs, well, bring it on, brother.
I'm into that.
Bring it on. And I warn you that, I'm not noted for being nice to my enemies.
If I can just take 20 seconds of your time, I apologise for interrupting this clip. If you'd like to support Turning Point Australia and what we're doing to help keep the lights on and keep the work going moving forward, please check out our website at tpaust.com.au. We've got a range of merchandise, whether it's the Make Australia Great Again hat, whether it's the other shirts that we have, or the educational maps that we have. Please go and support. If you don't want to buy any merch, that's fine. You can also support us by buying us a coffee and becoming a regular subscriber for as little as $4 a month. I'll let you guys get back to it. Thank you so much. I had a Professor Augustus Zimmermann. He said to me, he said, Joel, I can't think of a more exciting time to be alive than to fight against a totalitarian government.
I think that's a great call. I mean, that really is a great call. Yeah, I mean, in the Jockey Peterson era, we faced the challenge of creating great wealth for our people. And I think the people in Queensland in that period, towards the end of our reign, would have been the richest people on earth by a long way. It wasn't just, I did my own figures working as an unskilled labourer at Mount Isa Mines, and I was on $284,000 a year, a free board and accommodation, 3 beautiful meals a day, 7 days a week. Well, anyway, I rang up on Thursday and I got my start on Monday.
It's a good life. Yeah, it's
what a life. Wonderful place that they had created for us, our forebears, and the great battles that they had to get there, and when Jockey Peterson opened up the mines, the communist trade union said, in the jaws of Utah, Well, actually it was Thies Brothers, Oh, it's terrible for anecdotes, but there's a great story of the Thies Brothers. They imported the first bulldozers into Australia back in the 30s, whenever it was, the first bulldozers. And when they took a bulldozer into the mines in New South Wales, where they're still using pit ponies, the massive strikes, the whole of the coal industry and New South Wales closed down, right? And Thies Brothers came from Queensland. This was New South Wales. And so all the boys are in the pub because the massive strike, see? So all the, coal miners are all in the pub drinking. And this bloke was drinking and he said, so where do you come from, mate? And he said, I come from Queensland. That prick buddy, Thies comes from Queensland. He said, yeah, my name's Thies, actually. He said, so you wouldn't want to be related to that mob. He said, no, that's me. He said, what do you mean that's me? Oh, I'm Les Thies. He said, what are you doing drinking the pub here with just workers? He said, mate, I'm a dozer driver. I'm not a plutocrat or anything like that. I'm a dozer driver. Naturally, if we're on strike, well, I'm down the pub on strike, yeah. Yeah, but you own it all. We're striking against you. Oh, it's just not the way I see it. Anyway, mate, can I buy you a beer? And this bloke said, hey, everybody. Hey, this is Les Thies. Like we're striking against he's one of us, mate. He drives a dozer. I went back to work.
That's an amazing
Good
story.
Yeah,
there you go, mate.
I realised he was one of us.
Yeah.
I went back to work.
Because they thought the machine was a threat.
Yeah, but once it was established that the threat was coming from one of them, that was all right. I mean, it was class struggle and, aggressive, working class solidarity. A bit hard to be working class when you're on 300,000 a year as we were then, but a great story and so typical and indicative of Australia. But Les created almost by himself the coal industry of Australia. We're a coal importing nation when Les wanted to export coal. Everyone thought he was mad. But if you take out Lawrence Hartnett, who created the Holden motor car, 62% of our motor vehicles are made in Australia during the 80s. So, truly great Australian, Lawrence Hartnett. Essington Lewis created the steel industry in Australia. And he started work, Lawrence Hartnett started work on the shop floor. He was from an aristocratic family, but Vickers demanded that you want to be an executive of Vickers, you started as a diesel fitter, and fitter and turner. And so we started, as fitter and turner. The founder of the steel industry in Australia and the founder of BHP, the biggest mining company in the world, he when he died, his total earthly wealth was 1.7 million, and around about the time of his death, they came out with what the Prime Minister of Australia, Paul Keating, owned, and he had $23 million worth of assets.
Right.
One bloke had created the steel industry of Australia, and BHP, the biggest mining company on earth. That's what he did for his country. He ran the Australian economy during the war and took no money for it. He would have liked the money because he was never rich.
Thank you so much for watching the show. I hope you enjoyed this particular clip. If you want to support this show and keep the lights on and support everything we're doing at Turning Point Australia, please head to tpaust.com.au, where we've got hats, we've got shirts, we've got maps. And if you don't want to buy any merch, that's perfectly fine. If you want to just buy maybe a cup of coffee a month, for as little as $4 a month, you can help us get a small, long black to actually support the show and actually keep things going. Thank you guys so much for your support. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you later.